I'm Debbie Warford with Home Solutions Realty serving the Dallas, Texas area. Today we will discuss what happens when the appraisal comes back lower than the contract price. Let's begin. It's important for you to understand as the seller that your home is only worth what your buyer's, lender's, appraiser says it's worth. That very fact is hard to swallow sometimes for sellers. Like I've told countless sellers, your home may attract buyers, and buyers may be willing to pay that price, but that doesn't mean that it will appraise for that amount. Yes, I've lost my fair share of listings because sometimes sellers don't want to hear the truth, and they will go with another realtor that will put the home on the market for any price the seller wants. Let's discuss this further. What happens when a home is marketed for a listing price that turns out to be high for the loan? In the last video, we discussed what the appraiser looked for and that home's items become an addition or a deduction in the home's value. So what if the appraisal comes back low? Let's look at this scenario. The home was under contract for $200,000 and the home appraised for $195,000. The buyer's agent calls the seller's agent and reports that the appraisal has come back in $5,000 lower than needed. The seller and buyer have a few options. Option 1, the seller can accept the $195,000 and an amendment changes the price of the contract to $195,000. In this case, the seller only gets $195,000 for the home. The buyer can pay the seller $5,000 at closing, so seller still receives the $200K and amendment changes the loan to $195,000. That's the second option. Third option, the buyer and the seller agree to split the difference. Buyer pays the seller $2,500 at closing. Seller receives $197,500 for the home, and amendment changes the loan to $195,000. Option 4, the buyer backs out of the contract and receives the earnest money returned according to the contract. The lender cannot give the buyer a loan because of non-sufficient appraisal. In this case, the seller can put the home back on the market and start the process over with a new buyer. However, if the previous buyer was receiving an FHA loan, the seller cannot place the home back on the market for $200,000 and offer FHA financing because the home cannot get another FHA appraisal for 6 months. The home is tied to the $195,000 appraisal amount the previous buyer's lender had completed. The next buyer can get a conventional loan for $200,000. If the home is located in an area where the buyers are most likely going to need to get an FHA loan, which only requires 3.5% down versus a conventional loan of 10% down plus, then the seller must include this in their decision to try to work out an agreement between the buyer with the $195,000 appraisal and not place his home back on the market. In most cases, the seller and buyer are both in better shape, coming to an agreement. The buyers found the home they wanted, have already spent a lot of money to get the home ready to purchase. Survey, home inspection, appraisal, all must be paid whether they get this home or not. And the seller's loss is the FHA factor we already discussed. The possibility of the next buyer's home inspector finding more items to be repaired, and again, the home may not appraise for the needed amount next time. Plus, an active listing means that the home will need to have appointments scheduled for showings. Sellers' moving plans are disrupted, which is always time and money. Next time, we will discuss how some of the repair decisions that were made turned out to be a winner. We already know a winner is a home that appraised for the right amount. Until your success.